Hello everyone! As a game developer, I love making games and I love participating in game jams. I try to do 2 or 3 a year. For those of you who do not know what a game jam is, it is an event where people attempt to build a functional video game within a fixed time frame and often with the goal of fitting a specific theme that gets revealed before the jam starts. Education site GameDev.tv runs an annual 10-day jam where participation gets you a free course from their website. This year, the theme was Connections, which was revealed the moment the jam started on Friday, May 15th. We then had 10 days to make and submit a game, then for the following 7 days, everyone played each other's games and rated them on a bunch of categories. This year, there were 834 jam entries. With the limited time I had, I was only able to play and review 47 entries. Out of these, here are my top 10 favorites. Coming in at number 10, we have Space Rabbits. This game is an adorable little puzzle game where you're an astronaut on a space station and you're trapped and you need to mentally control the minds of genetically engineered rabbits on the station to move them around and help unlock passages for you. It's a short game, super fun, and the giant rabbits are really fun to play with. Coming in at number 9 is Patch Me If You Can. This ranked really high on theme. It's a game where you play an operator who has to connect different people. They have different stories, and if you pay close attention, you can realize that you don't have to necessarily connect them to where they're asking, but to who they actually need to be connected to based on what you hear as the operator. A very clever game and a fun story to play through. For number 8, we have Welcome to the Jungle. Out of all the 2D games I saw, this was probably the most heavily animated, with an entire animated intro and a whole lot of 2D animation and sprite animation for the protagonist and all the aliens that are attacking. You fight through these alien invaders, and when you beat a boss, you get an upgrade to your gun, and you play through a few levels and get upgrades. And it was a really well-polished game, even if it was pretty simple. Number 7 has Climb a Chameleon. This is a really cute game. I love the little chameleon character. I love the noise he makes as he runs along the twigs. I could see this getting developed into a much bigger platformer. There's just a few levels to get you used to the mechanics of the game. You can run underneath branches or on top of branches, and eventually they introduce snakes that you have to avoid because you don't want to get caught by them. Number 6 is Word Weaver. This is a complicated connect the letters game to try and spell words to do attacks. You can play strategically. Every time you beat a round, you get a different power up to unlock different special letters and things like that. One of my only complaints about this, and I played this for way too long, Q and U weren't guaranteed to be together. So if you had a Q show up, you either couldn't use it or you had to remove letters around it to get it to drop down to the closest U. But that's English for you. Hexpoint was one of the first games I reviewed. It's a tower defense game where you have to charge up each of the 2 towers you've got with the different color attack to attack the appropriately colored enemies. It was a very challenging game. You have to not only be able to drag the cable between the 2 towers and connect it properly, you also have to run back to the main source and change the appropriate color to fill up the right color for the tower. It took me a few tries to actually beat this game, but it was something that I could see developed into something way bigger. At number 4, we have Reacto. Based on the thumbnail, I thought this was going to be a Simon clone, but actually it's a cool little wheel game that shows a different color and you have to move the wheel and hit the spacebar. A very simple mechanic, but they really polished it up. They had great music, great sound effects, and it was a pretty neat game. Cube Connect was a very interesting game that I did not fully understand. Put it in 3rd place because it looks very complicated, and I played it, I beat most of the levels, but I still don't know how I beat the levels. I have a lot of trouble with Rubik's Cubes in real life, and flipping boxes around to get the right colors in 3D space is complicated for me, so maybe other people have an easier time with this. I thought based on the name that it was somebody in Quebec because the first 6 letters spell Quebec, but I asked and no, it was just a coincidence they were spelling cube weird. Ships Passing was one of the most frustrating games for me. You are a ship that goes into orbit around these nodes, and you swing around, build up momentum, and fly off and swing around the next node. And each time you go into orbit around a node, it decreases the number. You have to get them all to 0. If you overshoot and you hit the red border, you die, which I did countless times. I had so much trouble beating this game. but it was loads of fun to play. Even though it was a pretty basic game, it was still great fun. And for my first place out of what I reviewed, I chose the game Color Weave. This was one of the more unique games I actually saw. You drag colored yarns across a playing field around pegs, and there are pegs of various target colors, and they are either the colors matching the red, green, or blue yarn you drag, or it's a color that is a combination of the red, green, and blue colors. So you have to know your primary colors, you have to know what their combinations make, and you can't be colorblind. But if you tick all those boxes, then you can have a good fun at this game. What's really neat about it too is it's completely procedural, or has a completely procedural option, which is impressive. And you can wrap strings around as much as you want. If you release, that retracts. It's a very neat mechanic, and the graphics were really well polished, and there was good music and good sound. Now, these 10 games I just reviewed were ranked in various ways, and were not necessarily the top ranked games in the Jam. You can go to the Game Jam submission page to actually see which ones were the top rated. As for my game, Weaponect, it's a game where you play as a last surviving ship against a never-ending siege of aliens, but your ship has one secret advantage. It can connect weapons that it finds to its own weapons and keep connecting out and out and out, and you basically build just this big ridiculous ship full of weapons to try and beat off the Horde. It's a bit like Vampire Survivors in space with some of FTL flavor to it. We were ranked 16th out of 834 in terms of fun, and the reviews were super positive. So if you want to try my game or any of these 10 games that I reviewed, links are all in the description. Have fun checking them out, and as always, I will see you in the future.